We have a homeowner who is increasing the efficiency of his house. He hired an insulation company to come in and insulate his roof with this liquid open cell insulation.
So you spray it in there as a liquid, but it expands into this rigid foam. And then that's nice because it seals all the cracks and gaps, stops air infiltration. We've used it a lot in the past, and the homeowner, well, he's going to be thrilled he's got this in there come wintertime. Unfortunately, he's been left with a pretty big hole.
The hole was needed so they could get in there and spray their insulation.
Okay, so we're going to do some sort of a patch job?
Exactly. Let me show you what the wall is made of first. The backing on the wall is a fiber board.
What is that? Yeah, look at that.
It's like an insulation board, but it's not very efficient. What it does is it gives a base for them to apply their brown coat or rough coat of plaster. On the surface of that, to smooth the wall off, is this nice hard finish of veneer plaster.
Yep.
It's really hard, and you paint right over it.
And it's been here for a while?
65 years.
All right. So we've got some alternatives, though. We could actually use drywall. We've done it a lot in the past. It's got a paper face, a gypsum core, and the procedure is what?
Well, we'd cut this to fit the hole, and then we'd tape around the perimeter, but we have to then build it up in multiple layers of joint compound, sanding in between, and it's not only time-consuming, but very dusty.
You don't sound too thrilled. Have you got an alternative?
Well, I want to match this hard finish with a skim coat plaster, but I have to use a different board. It's actually a blue board.
Right.
The makeup is the same. And this is a gypsum product also. And this paper is designed to accept a skim coat or veneer coat of plaster right over it.
Okay, so by covering the entire thing, it avoids us having to just tape around the seams, those multiple layers of compound, and the sanding, because you can just get this butter smooth with the trowel.
Right. In about 45 minutes to an hour, we're going to be done.
All right, so how do we get started? First
thing I want to do is I want to cut a piece of this to cover the hole.
Gotcha.
Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to measure this hole. This is 19. I'm going to cut the piece 22. And it's 16.5 wide. I'm going to cut it 20 wide.
So you're actually going to cut an oversized patch.
Exactly. The original wall thickness is 7/8 of an inch. However, the blue board is 3/8 of an inch thick, so I'm going to need 2 pieces to fill the gap. Now, the reason I overcut this patch is because it's easier to cut the hole to match the patch than to cut the patch to match the hole.
Okay.
So I'm going to lay it over the hole.
Mind to me a little bit?
Okay.
A little more, good.
All right, now I'm simply going to trace around the blue board. Now we're going to cut on that line. We'll have a perfect fit.
Nice job, Tom.
Pull that right out. Now, we need something to affix our patch to. We have a nailer right here. Let me move that nail out of the way. But we don't have anything on the sides. So, what I'm going to do is, let me have one of these strapping. We're going to attach this strapping to the back side of our fiberboard simply by screwing through the surface of our plaster.
And then we can screw the new blue board to these.
Exactly. All right, now the next thing I want to do is I want to mark this 2x3 that's in the wall because we're going to use that to screw to.
Okay.
But you notice when I was cutting, I was holding my saw on an angle to back cut the hole.
Yeah.
I don't want to have any interference. I want this patch to fit nice. See? It goes right in.
And it does. That's a good fit.
One. Now 2. Now I'll simply screw through both pieces. Now you notice, Kevin, the screws are setting just below the surface, and I'm using this spring-loaded attachment.
Turns your drill into a drywall gun and gives you just the proper countersink.
Exactly. Now, to lessen the chance of having a crack around the patch, I'm going to use this fiberglass mesh tape to bridge that gap But I don't want the tape to stand proud of the plaster veneer, so I'm simply going to take a chisel and simply chisel away the veneer. Okay, now before we apply the tape, I simply want to sand around the perimeter. Just scuff up the painted surface a little bit.
So that the plaster takes to it better.
A little better, yep.